So we'll start off with self-titled, 1984, brilliant cover. What versions I've got are CD. This is the original CD. I believe it's a 1990 print of it. It's printed in the UK. Not really much to show there. Back cover on here is just an empty card on the inside. Then we've got the vinyl. This is 1999 reprint. Not much to say really. It's just blank on the inside. There we go. And then we've got the 2003 remaster, which is the first version that I owned. Different picture on the back, bonus tracks included. I've got 2 copies of the disc. Similar inside the original back cover, lots more information, lots more pictures, and the asterisk logo on the CD there, which I don't think existed when the album first came out, but it's there as part of the series of the remasters. And next you can see everything from Freaky Styley. I only have CDs and a single, no vinyl record yet, but this is the CD. This is a reprint from 1990. I think it's the first CD they did of the album. And it's got disc inside, the original back cover on the back here again, similar to the self-titled. And I've got the remaster here. Same pattern as with the self-titled, new asterisk logo here. And of course, again, lots more information in the booklet, new pictures. The back cover there with a new photo. I just really like the detail of the matching writing around the outside here as well. And the single here that I've got is for Hollywood, Africa. Promotional, as far as I'm aware. Got this from a guy on eBay who used to work for EMI. I asked him how he got it, and he just had it, even though it's an American one. He had it in the UK. A side is Hollywood, Africa, and on the B side is Nevermind. And I actually prefer Nevermind as a song, so I'm quite happy to have this one. And then here, moving on to 1987's The Uplift Mofo Party Plan. One of my early favourites of the Chili Peppers. It was the first kind of pre-Blood Sugar album that I had. I originally got the remastered version, 2003. Really like this picture on the back. Of course, they've got Party on Your Pussy as the original title, formerly Secret Song Inside. And as with the other remasters, it matches the inside. The original back here. My disc isn't actually here, it must be in the car. Again, it's one that I listen to often. Parental advisory on there as well, kind of messes up the cover, but hey ho. Got the original CD release here. I believe this is from 1987. It's the first CD that Chili Peppers released. And on the inside, it's same on the back here, and similar idea on the CD. I've also got the 7-inch single version of Fight Like a Brave. Really like the circle text that goes around it. It's a nice glossy cover. On the back, he kind of starts the real push of the asterisk logo. Got A-side, Fight Like a Brave, and then Fire as its B-side. And we take a brief pause from the albums for the Chili Peppers' first EP, and from 1988, the Abbey Road EP. Brilliant photo taken in front of Abbey Road Studios in London. This was a UK release primarily. I think it was to advertise and promote their European tour, which was coming up. Got the CD here, iconic socks, alternate photos, and the track listing on the back. Really interesting choices. Covers 3 albums. And the inside there is just the same as the back here and the disc. I just think it's a really good choice of songs as well. We've got Fire, which is also on the Fight Like Brave single release. We've got Backwards from Uplift Mofo, one of my favourite songs. Catholic Schoolgirls Rule from Freak Styley. Hollywood and Africa, I think they really wanted to push that one. It's not the best personal opinion. And True Men Don't Kill Coyotes from Self-Titled. Also got it on tape. Pretty much the same release. I just really like how it looks in different format. You can see just a really basic J card inside, nothing to fold out or anything, it's just plain on the inside. And it's the same on the A side and B side for the cassette. So now we're looking at 1989's Mother's Milk. Obviously a lot more releases here so far that I've got, because the album was a huge success for them, and that means more releases. So the vinyl release that I have here is a 2016 re-release. It's all nice and brand new, sounds amazing. Very glossy cover, it's really nice, very appreciated. I'll jump over to the CDs now. We've got the original normal release of the CD. Hilarious picture on the back. Bright colours. It's kind of same as Uplift Mofo kind of idea. You see the inside. We've got the normal back cover and the CD here. We've got an alternate cover release here as well. In some countries it needed to be censored a bit more for it to get onto the shelves, understandable. But pretty much the rest of the releases the same. We've got the same back cover, painting by Hillel Slovak. And the CD artwork is different on the inside. I really like having the asterisks as much as possible. Very iconic for the band. And here we've got the 2003 remaster. Again, different picture on the back. Really fun to see Flea's trousers from the High Ground video. Lots of bonus tracks as well on this one. Similarly, painted by Hillel Slovak on the back. It seems only right to include that when it's dedicated to him. And you can see the disc here. Lots of information in the booklet as well, more pictures. I recommend giving it a look. So in terms of singles, we'll start off with Knock Me Down. One of my more recent additions to collection. Really interesting track listing as well. Got Knock Me Down, obviously, Magic Johnson, Punk Rock Classic, and Jungle Man. So you get quite a few samples of the album, and then one older one in there as well. And possibly one of their biggest songs, most recognisable, we've got High Ground. This is the original CD single. It comes with High Ground, Fly Like a Brave, Behind the Sun, and Out in LA from the first album. Again, more of the same kind of design ideas. Adverts for the previous albums, which is always interesting. Massive single for them, obviously, so they want to push the catalogue as much as they can. And let's have a look at the Higher Ground. This is the 12-inch single. Comes with 3 tracks on it. High Ground. This is a remix version on side A. And side B has Fight Like a Brave and Out in LA, the album versions. Fun thing I like about this is a pop-up version. So it does open up and there's the band playing on the inside. Taken from the music video. Very fun release. We move on to Taste the Pain, one of the later singles, 1990. The original normal single version. Really hard to read the writing on the back, but kind of the start of handwritten almost. That would happen a bit more later on as well. We've got Taste the Pain. It's track 1. Track 2 is the LP version of Taste the Pain. There's not too much difference between the two in terms of timing, really. Track 3 is Show Me Your Soul, the single from film soundtrack, and Nevermind as track 4. I'll move on to the CD, Unbridled Funk and Roll for Your Soul. Limited edition 4-track CD EP. Just a really interesting release. Comes with Taste the Pain, Millionaires Against Hunger, which would later show up on the bonus tracks of Freaky Styley. We've got Castles Made of Sand, Jimi Hendrix Live cover. That would also be on the 2003 Mother's Milk re-release and Out in LA. And then we've got the remix of High Ground on there as well. Very good design. And the last one from Mother's Milk. This is Taste the Pain, 12-inch single. It's a remix version. I guess the most interesting part about it is that it comes with these pop-out sections. I do have a bit of wear and tear on this one, but I don't think I'd ever actually pop it out. But if you have done and know what it looks like, then obviously let me know and show me. And it's just got some design work on the inside of it as well, but nothing much to show. Taste the Pain, Show Me Your Soul on side A, then If You Want Me to Stay on side B, and Nevermind. And just realised I've forgotten, I've got 7-inch for High Ground as well. Same design as the CD for the most part. Again, we can see that it's got advertising the other albums, and we're looking at High Ground on the side A, and Fight Like a Brave is the B-side. And just to add in here, we have their first live video release. It's a psychedelic sex funk live from heaven. Bright coloured designs, same as we've been seeing a lot of Mother's Milk era releases. And here we've got Stone Cold Butch, Sexy Mexican Maid, Good Time Boys, Subway to Venus, Knock Me Down, Magic Johnson, Pretty Little Ditties, Special Secret Song Inside, a version of Star Spangled Banner, and Nevermind in there as well. Not much to look on the inside, just blank. We've got the video here. So we move on to 1991's Blood Sugar Sex Magic, and they moved over to Warner Brother Records away from EMI. Obviously a huge album for them, major breakouts. What I have here is the CD and vinyl versions. We'll look at the CD version first. They've only really done the one CD pressing. There aren't really any other versions. We've got the digital versions on Spotify and Amazon with the bonus tracks, but in terms of physical releases, this is it for the main album. Lots of great photos taken at the mansion where the album was recorded. All the notes, all the lyrics handwritten out, and the CD here. It's a bit more of a basic design than we've seen before. I like the effect on the back cover where it's slightly metallic on the silver. And the vinyl release, the one I have here, is the 2011 reprint of it. So it is slightly newer, but much easier to access. It's on 2 discs. They're very heavy discs, so printed in very high quality. I won't get them out too much, but it does come with card on the inside with some of the photos and also the lyrics written out as well. So in terms of singles for Blood Sugar Sex Magic, I'm going to split this into 2 sections. Kind of the original release of the singles, and then they had some re-releases with different covers, etc. during the early 90s while we waited for One Hot Minute to come out. Ones I have here are Under the Bridge. This is the original cover. Has the text going around it in similar style to the front cover of Blood Sugar Sex Magik. A lot of these singles and releases from this era have all the same tracks on them, just in different orders and across different releases. This one has Under the Bridge, obviously, and then Search and Destroy, Soul to Squeeze, and Sickapicaninko. And a classic release, Under the Bridge being one of their absolute most popular songs of all time. Next up we have Breaking the Girl. I've got two versions of this. We've got the normal CD release here. It comes with Breaking the Girl as track 1, Feel His Cock, a live version of Suck My Kiss, and I Could Have Lied. And by this time we'd had the release of the Funky Monks VHS, so they're advertising, pushing that as well as the main album itself. And we've got the 7-inch single for Breaking the Girl, same cover, same idea. Got the advertisement for the album and Funky Monks on the back, with the A side being Breaking the Girl and B side is Feel His Cock. Lastly, we've got If You Have to Ask, the single. Interesting thing about this release is that it does have the radio edit of If You Have to Ask, so cutting out the swearing in the chorus. It's a terrible edit though. I think it was popular at this time, and when censoring of music just started to become a thing in the 90s, where you would just kind of skip over the word you wanted to censor, so it's just a very awkward jump cut across the song. It doesn't work with the timing, it's not very good really. But the single has 4 tracks on it, so it has the radio edit. It's got a remix on track 2, an extra remix on track 3, and Give It Away on track 4, which is taken from the Funky Monks video. So it's the in the studio version, which is chopped up according to different clips you see in the video, but it's interesting to hear an in progress version as well. And we have the second batch from the Blood Sugar Sex Magik singles. We start off here with Give It Away. This was one of my first rarities of a collection, specifically something that's numbered. It's a 2-disc digipack. When I got it, it came with both discs included, but CD2 was available separately. Lots of remixes, alternate tracks, and Nobody Weird Like Me live. Soul to Squeeze included on there as well on disc 1. And we've got one of the discs separately. I think this is disc 1 separately by itself. We've pretty much got the same, just a condensed version. We've got a second release for Under the Bridge, different artwork. We've got the CD version here, different tracks as well, but ones that we have heard before. Got Under the Bridge 1, Feel His Cock is track 2, live version of I Could Have Lied as track 3, and the Give It Away from Funky Monks as track 4. We've got the cassette version of this one as well. It's the shrunk down artwork. Only 2 tracks on this one, Under the Bridge and then Suck My Kiss, a live version. It's the same on both sides for the cassette. We've also got the single version for Soul to Squeeze once it came out on the Conehead soundtrack. Very similar design for the Under Bridge re-release, pretty much reused. A bit brighter. It came with lots of extra tracks as well. Soul to Squeeze single itself, the live version of Nobody Weird Like Me, and the live version of Suck My Kiss. I've got the next version of Under the Bridge. Really interesting artwork on this one, I really like it. It's got the original sticker on as well. A precursor to the parental guidance sticker. Again, all tracks we've seen before. Numbered version here, also advertising Funky Monks and the album. And we've got Sick McIninko, Suck My Kiss Live, and Search and Destroy. Interesting one about this, that it does come with some photo cards inside. We've got the album cover here, which is very small itself. A photo here. Another photo. And here, all promo shots for Blood Sugar Sex Magik. All including John, which is good because I think he found it quite hard after the release of Blood Sugar, and by this time he was 2 years out of the band. So I appreciate that they still included him on the release. Next up, we've got what is a bonus disc for Blood Sugar Sex Magik when it was released again in 1994. They came in a box set together, but I only have the CD by itself here. Plasma shaft, interesting artwork. Not quite sure which way to hold it up really. This comes with a wide variety of all of the bonus tracks that we've had previously on singles. It starts off with the Give It Away from Funky Monks and the radio edit of If You Have to Ask, Nobody Weird Live, Sick McIninko, a radio edit of Breaking the Girl, Fearless Cock, If You Have to Ask, the remix, and also Soul to Squeeze. Fun design on the CD here as well, using the asterisks as well as some of the other icons. And then we come to the live rare remix box. I really like how metallic this box set is. Very much, I think, just a holder release until they waited for the new album to be ready. It's very much a summary of everything that we've looked at previously. Just kind of categorised in its own little box set. We'll have a look at the discs. And first we have Live, which comes with Give It Away, Nobody Weird Like Me, Suck My Kiss, and I Could Have Lied. All of which we've seen on previous releases. We've got the rare, which is the B-sides, Soul to Squeeze, Fearless Cock, Sick McIninko, and Search and Destroy. And then we have the remixes. Got 12-inch mix of Give It Away, pasta mix for Give It Away, If You Have to Ask, If You Have to Ask, and If You Have to Ask. On the inside, they're all the same as this really, just the same almost metallic printing of these, and then the CD. And we also have Funky Monks making of Blood Sugar Sex Magik. My version here is the DVD version, released a bit later on. I am interested in having the VHS version, just haven't got around to that yet. Not all the tracks are featured, but there are some moments of the B-sides in there as well. And inside, just the track listing and the disc, and just using some of the design language from Blood Sugar Sex Magik. And in amongst all of the Blood Sugar Sex Magik releases, obviously Blood Sugar Sex Magik was a massive album for the band and for music generally. EMI, their previous record label, wanted to capitalise on the back catalogue that they had built up with the band, and this is what we have from this same era in the mid-90s. Really starts off in 1992 with this original release of What Hits, the pretty much essential guide to early Chili Peppers. 14 tracks. From what I know, they were chosen by people in the label. The band had no input into this, but it's a fairly solid collection. There are some that I would skip out, some that I would put in instead, but that's that really. I've got a recommendation note in there from when my cousin borrowed the CD, where we've got a rundown of the track listing, asterisks being used on the CD, bright colours, same again. Really good release. It is also on Spotify and Apple Music and everything, as well as all the original albums. If you just wanted to listen to this one, it is on there as well. What I have here is a re-release of What Hits. The EMI Capitol Records were sold in the mid-2010s to Universal, and this is their re-release of What Hits from that era under the Icon branding. This is a sealed copy. I've not looked into it. I assume it's very much the same on the inside, but if you've got a copy and have had a look, obviously let me know what it's like. This is from 2013, re-release of What Hits. I've got a promo copy of the album as well. Promo sent out to radio stations. This is a much shorter version of What Hits, kind of some of the essentials. We've got Higher Ground, If You Want Me to Stay from Freak Styley, Under the Bridge from Blood Sugar, which is the track they chose to bring over from Warner Brothers in the change of label, and we've got Taste the Pain and Behind the Sun. Behind the Sun being the lead single from the compilation album to promote it. I also have the cassette version of What Hits. I just like the adaptation of the cover to be vertical. Lots of the same design language used. It does have a nice pull-out J card with all the images on. There we go. And then, as I said, Behind the Single is the main. Behind the Sun is the main single from the compilation release. And I've got two versions of that single here. I've got the cassette version, which is just in a cardboard case. I'm not really a massive fan of that, but I think it just brings costs down. It's got Behind the Sun on side A and a remix of Higher Ground on side B, and the purpose of the single is to advertise the album there. And the CD single version of Behind the Sun. This is one of my more recent additions to the collection. I believe this is from Australia, where it had a physical main release. Yeah, I've got the Virgin Import sticker there. This has another name as well. They called it the Chili Digi. It's a digipack of the Chili Peppers. Again, advertisements for previous albums. It's interesting that they don't have the self-titled on there, but there are no tracks from the self-titled, so that's the main track, Behind the Sun from Uplift Mofo. We've got a remix version of Higher Ground, a remix version of If You Want Me to Stay, and then Knock Me Down from Mother's Milk. Really interesting release here. They also released a video version of What Hits basically all the videos from the EMI era plus Under the Bridge. I've got the DVD copy here, which was released around 2002, I believe. It's very much the same design as the main album itself. Blank on the inside, but there's the asterisk on the disc there. This is the PAL version from the UK. And this alternate version that we have is 2 CD and DVD release, also Australian, I believe, which means this is the NTSC, similar to America version. It's a really interesting release. This came much later on. It's from 2007, so much more recent. And it comes with the What Hits CD and DVD, and also a copy of Mother's Milk, which you can see on the inside here. A little booklet just explaining what's on the DVD. And then we've got all of the discs here as well. So we've got the CD for What Hits and CD for Mother's Milk, and the DVD for What Hits here. Interestingly, the CD is exactly the same as the 2003 remasters. So while you're getting reprints from DVDs here in 2002, the CD here is the newer version from 2003 rather than the original CD release. And we jump ahead another year or two and they release Out in LA, a Rarities and B-side album. I really like that it uses the same design language as What Hits. Very much the same, but a different colour scheme. It's Flea in the background instead of Anthony. And there's lots of bonus tracks from the EMI era here. It's the original release of all of the original demos, plus a few extra bits in here. Live tracks, remixes. Similar design on the inside as well as What Hits. Yeah, really good release. Then we have here from Capitol Records, also released in 1994. It has a couple of different names really that I've seen. It's the main name on here that you can see is Greatest Hits, and that's what's on the side as well. It's part of Capitol's 10 Best series. So the album does only feature 10 tracks, all of which are included on What Hits. So really, if you're going to choose between them, What Hits is the better option to go for. But this does include an alternate track order. I think it has had multiple releases with different covers, different designs, but essentially the same release. I think this is more the European version. I think America has a different cover, but I quite like the throwback to the Uplift Mofo cover here as well. This last one is one I just wanted to include here because it was primarily EMI focused and EMI released compilation, but it is from much later on. This is from 1998, the Essential Chili Peppers Under the Covers. Limited edition. It's a bit trickier to find. It's a paper case, so it is a bit roughed up. A bit more roughed up than I was hoping for when I got it, but it is one of my favourite compilations from the Chili Peppers. They're obviously well known for doing a variety of different covers, including on the earlier albums, recording versions, and they pretty much do covers every live show, even still. So it's a really good opportunity to explore the early covers that they released. I find it really interesting just because it does include a handful of Warner Brothers releases, even though it's an EMI release. People tend to think that they just swapped Higher Ground and Under the Bridge for What Hits and the 2003 Greatest Hits, but there is a combination of the two on this one as well. And another handwritten note here from Flea with what I find is a really interesting note to Don't Forget, their cover of Why Don't You Love Me from the self-titled album, which is a really good cover, and more pictures of the band. I think it just covers both EMI and Warner's quite well. It starts off with Robert Johnson's They're Red Hot, so that's obviously an alternate version from the one found on the Blood Sugar album. It doesn't have the long fade out or anything. And it's got a few live covers on there as well, and also Search and Destroy from Blood Sugar, the High Ground remix, and a remix of Hollywood Africa as well as the original version. Now we move on to 1995, so One Hot Minute and its singles. One Hot Minute has Dave Navarro playing on it. Some really good tracks on here, solid release. It's not one of my go-tos all the time, but I really appreciate the work that is done on it. And as a major release following Blood Sugar Sex Magic and a success in itself, it had quite a few releases alongside it as well. First we'll start with Warped, which I have two versions. Got the main CD version here, all handwritten, presumably Anthony Kiedis. My CD is a bit loose in the back here. It comes with an edited version of Warped, P as track 2, and a B-side of Melancholy Mechanics. It's track 3. Paper release is very similar. Same tracks, just in paper case rather than the jewel case. The next single is My Friends. I've got two versions of this as well. The main CD release. A couple of extra tracks on there as well. Got Coffee Shop and two B-sides, Let's Make Evil and Stretch. And advertising One Hot Minute here. And the matching cassette release. Seeing an adaptation of the cover. Just one B-side for this one, Let's Make Evil. And it plays the same on both sides, both tracks. We've got the single for Aeroplane, one of people's favourite songs from this album. I've got two versions of the single here. And the main release. It's a 4-track single. Got live versions of Backwards, Transcending and Me and My Friends. Really good to see an EMI era track on here as well, especially Dave Navarro playing it. Then we've got the more limited edition version of Aeroplane that has special front cover on it. The disc is a different one as well. Two more live tracks. We've got Suck My Kiss, Suffragette Cities on there as well. That would be released again digitally in 2012 on the Hall of Fame EP. It's the same version on there. But if I get the front cover out here, we have some alternate art for One Hot Minute the album. You can see, I don't know how well the camera picks it up, but her hands move to play the piano and the wings move on the little fairy here as well. Very fun release. We've also got a copy of Coffee Shop, just the paper card version. There's a limited single, I think. You don't see many of these around, but I managed to get one. Got Coffee Shop on it, the album version, and then a live version of Coffee Shop, and also a live version of Give It Away there. The disc on the inside just has the same design. And just to finish off this era of the band for this collection, we have the release of Love Roller Coaster, which was done for the Beavis and Butthead movie. This was actually a really big single here in the UK. When the Chili Peppers were at one of their big heights in the early 2000s, when I started getting into them, this was still very much in rotation on TV, music stations. It's a double A-side single, really. It's a Chili Pepper single, and people know it best for being the Chili Peppers. It's got the other track on there of Engelbert Humperdinck's Lesbian Seagull. And just lots of information. Because it was done for the film, it's just an interesting release by them as well. It's done on Geffen Records, made with MTV and Paramount for the TV show film, obviously. Yeah, the third label Chili Peppers have had a release from. And we've got the cassette version here as well. Exactly the same tracks, same album arts, just letterboxed in there. All the same idea. Played both tracks on the A and B. And going back to another John Frusciante release, we have 1999's Californication, their best-selling album to date, as far as I'm aware. A massive album for them, obviously. A huge amount of releases. The kind of prime of CD releases as well. We go into the albums first. We have the main CD release here, Californication. And track listing. I assume most people watching this will possibly have a copy of this album, so I'm not going to focus on it too much. Yeah, the standard release on CD. We've got a variant cover here. I think this came a bit later on. This is a fairly common one to come across, but it's a misprint. Not quite sure what happened, but it's kind of the blue version. I've kept mine sealed just to keep it nice, but for as far as I'm aware, it's exactly the same album, it's just a blue cover. Third version that I have here is a 2-disc re-release. This is from Singapore, and disc 1 just has the normal album on it. Then disc 2 is a video CD of the videos that had been released up until this point. So we have Scar Tissue, Around the World, Other Side, and Californication. It's quite hard to get a video CD to play. It took me a little bit to figure it out, but my Blu-ray player does play video CDs, and it is very, very low quality versions of the singles. They're far better on YouTube, so that gives you some idea at least, but I quite like having the chunky 2-disc jewel case that came on double CDs around this time. Yeah, a really interesting release and another recent acquirement for myself. We've got the vinyl release. This is a newer pressing of the album. I can't remember what year it came out, but you can see it's a newer one. It has the more recent Warner Records logo on here. Then a nice heavy copy, really nicely printed, 2 discs. And on the inside we have the lyric sheet as well. Not really much to see on that side. Then on this side we have the photo used backstage at one of John's first concerts back, where they did the circle before going onto the show. And in terms of singles, we have all CDs here. We start off with Scar Tissue. I'm not sure how many versions of this there are. I just have this one that comes with 2 bonus tracks, Gong Li, the B-side, and instrumental number 1. Then we have 2 versions of Around the World. CD 1, yellow disc. Track 2 is Parallel Universe. It is a live version. It says non-LP track, but that's what makes it the live version. And a Teatro Jam, a live jam on there as well. And we have CD 2 for Around the World. This is a partly clear disc, a really interesting print of it. Track 2 is Me and My Friends live, and then the Yertle trilogy live as well. Again, good to see some earlier content being included on here. But yeah, really nice limited edition version. And we have the 2 versions of Other Side. Alternate art on each one. We've got Other Side, How Strong, B-side from the main album release, and a version of Road Tripping without any strings on it. Very much a stripped down version. It's nice to hear a different mix. And disc 2 for Other Side, same design, but yeah, black. Got a live version of My Lovely Man on here from Blood Sugar Sex Magik, and if you put it in the computer, it has the video for Around the World on it, which is interesting. I thought they'd put Other Side on it, but I can't even get this to work anymore on modern computers. So next up we have 3 versions of Californication. We've got a numbered limited edition clear CD release. It's the red one. See the clear disc there. Track 2 is I Could Have Lied live. Then the end of show jam for State College. It's really cool clear CD, and the information there. We have a blue copy of Californication here. Not numbered, but it has the space there for it, and smaller artwork there. Again, has I Could Have Lied on it, but the end of show track for track 3 is from Brisbane this time. And another blue copy of Californication. This one is numbered and is again another clear disc. It has the same tracks as the other blue version, I Could Have Lied and the end of show for Brisbane. And then we're looking at the 2 versions of Road Tripping, last single. Two tracks on it. We've got Under the Bridge live, and then If You Have to Ask live as well. And the last one from this time, CD2 for Road Tripping. Get 4 tracks on this one. Well, technically. Got a live version of Californication and Blood Sugar Sex Magik. And then we've got the video for Road Tripping on here as well. I can't get that to work myself, but we have other ways to access that. And then from this era as well, we have the first live release from Warner Brothers for Chili Peppers, Off the Map. Very bright neon colours. Also available firstly on VHS, but I have the DVD one here. My version came with an extra space here, so I have a rip of the Pyramids in 2019 show here. We have the main DVD here, PAL version. Excellent show, strongly recommended. And now here we're on to the next release. By the way, this is a really important album for me. This is the one that got me into Chili Peppers and rock music generally. First one I listened to after it was nominated for the Brit Awards here in the UK. It was a massive album in the UK. Let's have a look at the release. We've got the main CD version here, track listing and band on the back, and discs on the inside, and more artwork and photos of the band. I really like the paper that was used for this. It's very much a matte effect and recycled paper. It very much fits in with the design overall. We'll have a look at the vinyl release. As far as I'm aware, this is the original vinyl release. I didn't have it for a very long time, but was able to get a hold of a copy of it. 2 discs on the inside, and lyrics printed on a sheet on the inside. Very much just matching the inside of the CD release. Moving on to the singles, we've got the first single and title track, By the Way. I've got 3 versions of this. We'll look at the CDs first. CD 1, see this artwork, very popular, included inside of the By the Way CD, and is the backdrop for the Slane Castle release from that tour as well. 2 extra tracks, we've got Time, B-side from the studio, and studio recording of Teenager in Love cover. Also included in the 2012 Digital Hall of Fame EP. And CD 2, By the Way, slightly different cover. I quite like this about the By the Way, in that the different single releases do have different covers. And this one came with track 2, live version of Search and Destroy, good callback to the early 90s for them, and then a live version of What Is Soul and Funkadelic as well. I really like that they did a DVD single for By the Way as well. You see the front cover here and adjustments to make it vertical. See the adverts for Off the Map and Funky Monks included. A lot of the same design language as the whole album and single releases. Got a nice version of the disc here. I've got some of the original DVD paperwork, nothing Chili Peppers related there, which very much Warner Brothers and DVD. The DVD comes with the music video for By the Way, the making of the music video, which on here is called Obsessive Compulsive Psychologically Misaligned Cab Driver, aka the making of By the Way, which is 13 minutes 45 seconds long. Also included on the Greatest Hits DVD. And we've got an alternate version of the video as well, which is called the performance version, which is just the band performing the song without the whole cab driver madness. Just an alternate, very interesting. Next up we have the Zephyr song. We've got CD 1 here. Brilliant release. Two additional tracks, both are B-sides from the studio sessions. We've got Out of Range and Rivers of Avalon. The lyrics on the inside there for Zephyr song as well. And we look at CD 2, again, alternate artwork. Very confusing with this. The CDs themselves are very, very similar. Hard to pick out which is which. It's taken me a long time to get CD 2 for Zephyr song, just because people kept getting the discs themselves mixed up. Also has 2 bonus tracks. We've got Body of Water from the live not from live, from the studio sessions. One of my favourite B-sides, and Someone as well. Great release. And we have CD1 for Can't Stop. Again, all the same design, language. 2 bonus tracks, both live. You have If You Have to Ask live, and then the Christchurch fireworks music, which is played at the end of the show at Christchurch for that tour. Got CD2 for Can't Stop, very similar. 2 live B-sides, Right on Time and Nothing to Lose, both live. Then we come up to Universally Speaking. I really like to throw it back to the album cover on this one, but inverted here. Again, similar design. 2 live tracks on this one, but By the Way, a live acoustic version. A really interesting listen. It's very slowed down. A really great version of the song. And Don't Forget Me live. I think by this point they'd picked up on how great people liked Don't Forget Me when it was performed live, which is a much better version than the studio version. And CD2 for Universally Speaking. Same design again. 1 bonus track, which is Slowly Deeply. That was recorded in the Californication studio session. And it's an instrumental track, where it's got that title. The Universally Speaking video is also on this one, but I've not yet been able to access that from the disc. That's By the Way. And next up, we'll have what I'm kind of going to refer to really the greatest hits era. Yeah, they kind of reached the great heights that they have, and it was time for more greatest hits. We'll start off with Slane Castle release, DVD release of a live show for Slane Castle Festival. Obviously you can see it's an absolutely giant crowd that they performed to. Fantastic show, expertly filmed, just the kind of ultimate Chili Peppers live show on there, containing mostly music from Californication and By the Way, dipping into Blood Sugar. For my versions here, I've got a printed version of the set list from the show. You can see that they did perform Salt Squeeze on there, which was cut out. I've got some of the original paperwork here as well, advertising other CDs and releases at the time. I've got the disc with the band performing there in the background. Very much the ultimate Chili Peppers live performance. I've got a second copy of this. If I'm collecting physical media, then I kind of need to get everything. So this was the UMD disc version for the PSP. Just a really interesting alternate art. Very much the same, but see there, we've got the same paperwork on the inside, information about UMD. An expanded version of the picture in the background there. See the By the Way goat on the sides of the stage, and the disc itself, which is just really interesting, like a mini disc inside of a plastic case. I've not had a chance to test it, but I'm sure that it works fine. It's not quite as high quality as the DVD, but then the DVD isn't massively amazing these days with HD anyway. It would be good if they did do a new HD Blu-ray, or at least YouTube online version for us to see. And moving into the greatest hits release itself, I've got multiple versions of the album. The main CD release we have here, was the second release that I had. Basic introduction to Chili Peppers. I actually had the hits and videos version, which I'll show you in a second, but this is the primary release. My disc is missing because it's in the car, but I'll show you it in a moment. But lots of pictures from across the band's history up to this point, with some handwritten notes from the band as well. Looking at the videos, combined version here, and then Digipack, so copy protection, which was in the EU at the time. Open it up. The main CD here. We've got the DVD over at this side, booklet and paperwork advertising their releases, similar to Slane Castle. We'll jump over to the DVD first, the main solo DVD version. Very much just same aesthetics, but definitely my first introduction to Chili Pepper videos. It does include Higher Ground in there as well, with commentary for it, as part of their Warner Brothers deal with EMI. More videos than songs on the CD. It's a really interesting collection. I think you can tell it's more done by the band than the label themselves, which I appreciate. The band trying to show what they're most proud of, rather than just what has sold the best. We've got a Japanese copy of the greatest hits here as well. This came out later on, I believe. It's a kind of a vinyl reproduction. So you can see it says side 1, side 2, side 3 and side 4. It's all broken up, but it is a CD inside. It's got the gatefold with, I presume this is what the primary vinyl release looks like, but this is all shrunken down with the handwritten notes and lots of the pictures. It's got the Japanese information here, which is meant to be folded so that this is the spine and has all the information, but it's kept straight for shipping. The booklet inside is very blank, plain, but it just has Japanese translations for everything. All of the main information is inside the gatefold. And again, because it's a vinyl reproduction, it has a little slip case on the inside, and the CD itself is similar design to the main version that we have in Europe and America, just with a bit more information. And we have the main single from the greatest hits era, Fortune Faded, part of sessions recorded especially for it. I really wish they'd release more of the songs from these sessions, but what we have for now with Fortune Faded, the CD1 version here, 2 extra tracks. We've got Eskimo, which was recorded in the greatest hits sessions, and also Bunker Hill, which is one of the first songs written for Californication, and this is recording from those sessions, just not released until this here. We've got disc 2, Fortune Faded as well, same but blue. Features some live tracks. We've got a remix of Californication, and then Tuesday Night in Berlin, which is the end of show jam from Berlin around that time. And then we're moving on to Stadium Arcadium in 2006. This was a big release for me. After I discovered the band, the first release process that I went through, I was really excited. And over time I've been able to collect all of the different release versions. Well, not all of them yet, but build up the collection. And I'll go through what we have here. See, we have the first traditional CD release in the jewel case, square cover, brilliant photo on the back, double album track listing, see on the inside. Always confused me that it was just the same again, but I guess you could flip it around and have whichever disc first. I don't think, while the CDs do have names, Jupiter and Mars, I don't think they ever really had any intention of what order you should listen to them in, but Jupiter is usually first, but Mars on the other side and artwork here. The second one we have is the Digipack release. I believe this came out a little bit afterwards. I was confused when friends also bought the CD later on, but they had this version, whereas I had a jewel case. But this has the yellow sticker on the front. It's a paper copy, so it does get a little bit roughed on the edges. Open it up, see the disc and similar artwork. And then we have Mars on the other side and an alternate booklet in the middle here. And a great picture of the band inside here. I had this on a giant poster from the tour that year. And got the same booklets as the normal release, but it just has the planets on the cover rather than the main front cover of the album. I've got a third version here, which the artwork and everything I did for myself, and just so I could include it in the collection. It's the CDs that came with the guitar and bass books, which just has the guitar and bass tracks isolated on them for learning how to play. It's just a photocopy really, but I did put guitar and bass on the spine as well. The CDs on the inside obviously just slightly different, published by a different company, but they have tried to match them up to the originals as much as they could. Just another version of the album, which is really interesting. The last copy of the album itself that we have here is the limited edition box set, which was the version they won the Grammy for best box set. You see it's slightly 3D with different layers on the inside. Really interesting, nice presentation in a box. As we open that up, we get a few different things inside. We've got a really nice copy of the booklet, much bigger, different artwork. I think this is the same artwork that comes in the record, the vinyl version, for each of the two sections of the release, but yeah, essentially the same booklet, but just printed much nicely. I think when it originally came wrapped in plastic, I got mine second hand, but when it was originally released, this will have been on the back cover, so people could see the track listing and everything. We have the main CD here now as well, which has a different front cover again. It's mine. I really like this photo as well. I had a sticker of it that came from a Kerrang magazine, which is sadly now gone. But more. What I really like about this version is that it does come with a DVD with it as well. That artwork as well. The DVD has the video for Danny California on it, the making of Danny California video, and then also some band commentary on different songs on the album. Not every song, which is a shame, but it's really interesting to hear what they think of some of the different tracks, and they definitely have as much of a love for Wet Sand from this album as we do. And as we open it up further, we've got the main discs as well. It opens up all the way to show all three discs. We have more artwork on the back there as well. And a very nice release of the album. It does come with some extra bits as well. As I said, I got mine second hand, so sadly it was missing a couple of things. We have a little matchbook notepad And we also have some handwritten notes from the band. I won't go into them all at the moment. We have a bag of marbles, which is just a fun little thing, I guess. It's just marbles. It don't necessarily represent the album, I feel, at least, unless you counted the red and blue as Mars and Jupiter, and then the yellow for the Stadium Arcadium logo. Yeah, it's just an interesting addition. It would also usually come with some paper spinning tops. As I said, that's sadly the part that's missing from my copy. Moving on to the single releases from the album, we have firstly Danny California, CD 1. I really like the CD single releases for Stadium Arcadium. Comes with lots of B-sides again. There's more or less a whole other album's worth of B-sides available, and they've released all but one of them that they recorded for this. CD 1 for Danny California comes with Million Miles of Water. We've got the artwork there. And CD 2, same artwork again. So we have 2 tracks on this one. We have Whatever We Want and Lately. All brilliant tracks. It's got 1 CD for Tell Me Baby. There is another one with extra tracks on it, I believe. There's also a promo copy out there, but I've just got the ones for the moment. Lots of pictures from the music video for Tell Me Baby. Really good video. Track 2 on this one is A Certain Someone. A great release. Tell Me Baby, I've got the 7-inch picture vinyl as well. Which comes with the B-side Mercy Mercy. Then we have Snow. 2 CD versions for this one. Really nice design work. This one has 1 bonus track, Permutation. And CD 2 for Snow, which is the one that I prefer. Got more tracks on it. Same design, but we have track 2, Funny Face, and number 3, I'll Be Your Domino. More brilliant tracks. The next single I have 4 versions of, 3 on CD. Desecration Smile, CD 1. Comes with 1 bonus track of Joe. And then we've got CD 2. Slightly different artwork. 2 bonus tracks on this one. Funky Monks Live. An absolutely brilliant track. I'm glad they were recording it. It is a fan choosing the track from a radio competition. And it comes with lots of explanation on the track as well. And it's an excellent performance of a song they don't really perform live at all. And we've got the 7-inch picture vinyl for Desecration Smile as well, which has the live version of Funky Monks on the B-side. Last version of Desecration Smile. This is a promo version. I'm not sure if it usually comes with a J card or not, but it has the sticker on there with all the blurb for the band and explanation. And it comes with 2 versions of the song. Got the full album version and then a radio edit, which is just slightly shorter. And then finally we've got Humpty Bump. Artwork there taken from the music video, directed by Chris Rock. See the artwork there. 2 bonus tracks. Track 2 is called An Opening, which is just the intro jam from one of the shows on the tour, and Blood Sugar Sex Magic live as well. And we have the 7-inch picture vinyl version, same artwork, Humpty Bump A-side and An Opening live jam on the B-side. And then we have 2011's I'm With You, Josh Klinghoffer now on guitar. It's a brilliant album. It's the first vinyl record of Chili Peppers that I had, and yeah, it was a fantastic release that I thought. Got the standard CD version here. This kind of marks the move over to cardboard digipacks permanently for their releases, which I'm not massively a fan of myself. They do get damaged and worn and faded a lot easier. You can't replace cases, but still a fantastic release. Very clean, tidy design. People often get a little bit confused. On the side, it's got the I apostrophe M, rather than, some people think it's an exclamation mark. Get confused, saw that on Reddit recently. Yeah, that's the standard CD release. And the vinyl record is very much the same, matches the CD. It's the both gatefold, so they're just basically the same. A little bit of a waste of space potentially on the inside. I mean, you can very vaguely see I'm With You and Red Hot Chili Peppers on the inside, but yeah, it does come with the double album and then lyrics printed on the inside, but no photographs on the vinyl version at all. And as we're getting into more of the iTunes digital download era, the releases do start to become very limited from this point onwards, but I do have 2 of the physical ones that they released around this time. First one we have is The Adventures of Rain Dance Maggie. So that's from the photo. Again, going back to using the asterisks a lot more. Almost looks like a release from EMI. Inside did come with a sticker inside the J card. All the brush strokes very much like the promotional CD released before the album came out, Road Tripping Through Time, that had this kind of logo. It's a sticker here that I've tried to keep as neat as possible. I've just got another photo of the band on the inside. I'd have been happier if this had been the main photo, to be honest. I think the band are well known for being fun, silly. I think that's just a better photo, a better representation of the song. And lastly, we have a promo release. This is a recent addition for the collection. This is the single for Monarchy of Roses, promo release in Japan. Absolutely brilliant artwork. It's a shame it wasn't used more. It's got all the blurb in Japanese there for radio stations to use. More information promoting the album. Blue disc for the CD, and just a plain radio promo release, really. And here we have Josh Klinghoffer's second album with the band, 2016's The Getaway. Brilliant record, produced by Danger Mouse. Gave them a very different sound, I thought, particularly the drums. Different approaches to songwriting, just really interesting to listen to. And yeah, a really preferred one of mine. We look into the main CD release we have here. The sticker's still on there. We've got the rest of the main artwork on the back. Photo on the inside, gatefold again. Look, the booklet with photos and the main CD inside. And we have the vinyl record, pretty much exactly the same, with the gatefold CD release. go. And on the inside, it's the same photo, and have the lyric sheet, which has a photo from the inside of the booklet as well. And because we are very thoroughly into the digital download era at this point, and Spotify and streaming, there's very limited physical releases at this time. Any that there are mostly just radio station promos. I've not got hold of any of those at the moment. But what they did release was a cassette tape for Dark Necessities, which we have here. I've managed to get my copy second hand, but still in its packaging. I've got no plans to undo this at all. It has Dark Necessities on there. I've read that it also has an extra track on there, either The Getaway or We Turn Red, but there's no sign of that on the covers, and I don't want to open it to check. But yeah, this was a trickier one to come by, but they're definitely out there. In 2013, they did release a lot of the B-sides from I'm With You. The collection is widely known as I'm B-Side You. It's a collection of 9 7-inch double-sided releases. I only have 2 of them, number 7 and number 8. They are not impossible to come by, but it's certainly increasing in price. I'm only managed to pick these up on particularly good deals. You can also get a 12-inch collection of them all, which was released for Record Store Day, but that is a particularly pricey one, but definitely exists out there that you can get. There's also a 2-disc version of I'm With You, which had 5 or so of these tracks included as bonus tracks, but these are just the 2 that I have. Today we've got the asterisks with the sticker. These are both sealed as well. I don't really want to open them up. They did release all the songs digitally as well, so I do have those. And they're also on streaming platforms now. We have number 7, which includes Catch My Death and How It Ends. Got all the lyrics written out on the back. Then we have number 8. This is the kit. And Brave From Afar. Again, all the lyrics written out. If you can get hold of all 9 of these, it is a brilliant set that you put together and makes the picture. But yeah, I just have these 2 so far. And now we're on to John Frusciante's 3rd go with the band. We're getting up to modern day now. These came out last year. We got Unlimited Love. There were lots and lots and lots of vinyl releases for this album, all different variants. I've only managed to get one, which is the purple and gold edition. That's the one that we could get in the UK. I like it as well because it's the colours of the Lakers basketball team, which the band support. So I quite like that. It's not a gatefold version of the album, which I wish I did have, but I just couldn't afford to buy too many copies of it. And the collection's large enough as it is, as you can see. Maybe one day I'll try and pick them up, but they are obviously all limited and go up in price. But I'm happy with my purple and gold version. At least I did go for a limited edition rather than the standard version. But all the packaging and everything is exactly the same, it's just the colour of the vinyl. We'll start off looking at the CD, which is also a digipack version. It's a nice glossy copy, which I really like. Looks really clean. Photo of the band on the back and track listing. I quite like that they go for a focus on the asterisk logo as well, to kind of keep that brand going, especially on the front cover. Just very iconic imagery for the band. We've got Nice photo of the band there, booklet and CD inside as well. For the CDs themselves, I feel it's a little bit printed a bit more cheaply than they've done in the past, but CD sales are going down. Vinyl is up as well as tape, and obviously streaming's the main one, so CD is not their focus at the moment, which obviously is a shame for physical media collectors such as myself. We've got the CD there, and the vinyl is the same. Different variations of the vinyl came with different photos on the back. I think I quite like mine matching the CD. It becomes a bit too much for collectors, just how many they released, but we've got the inside. More photos of the band. All the information there. No extra content, but we do have the purple record and then the yellow one there. And lastly, we've got the cassette tape version. Cassettes are becoming quite big again for collectors and people generally. People are enjoying physical media at the moment, which is really good, especially retro ones like tapes. I've kept mine closed. Bought this new from their online store. I don't have a tape player despite owning a number of their tapes, but it's nice to have all of the different mediums there. And then we have the second release from last year from the band, Return of the Dream Canteen. They had a very productive lockdown, it seems. They had lots of songs recorded and ready to go. Very similar to Stadium Arcadium, but they've just opted for similar. They've opted to go for separate releases rather than a giant one release. So I've got a few different versions of it here. We have the main CD version, the standard cover, also in a digipack paper one. Not glossy this time, which I felt was a shame. I thought that would have looked really good with the artwork. But generally, I'm not a massive fan of this artwork and its style, but I like that it's similar to Uplift Mofo Party Plan. A bit of a callback for the band. Of the inside there, more of the same artwork. But CDs a bit more matte effect rather than glossy as well. But again, it feels on the cheaper side. Similar with Unlimited Love, but as I said, physical isn't really their priority at the moment. But we have the independent record store variant cover, alternate cover with alternate back as well, and the bonus track. The bonus track as well, The Shape I'm Taking. Really good track. Shame it wasn't included on the main album release. It's just as good as any of the ones on the record. I really like on the inside of this one, it has a photo of the band which matches Unlimited Love and links into their design wise. I think I'd much rather have the photo on the inside on the main release rather than just the variant, but the booklet and the disc are basically the same. Can't really tell them apart without seeing it all together. I again got the cassette tape version of the album as well. Nice pink colour this time to match up with the artwork. Again, yeah, keeping it sealed because I don't have a player. There's no need to take it out and let it get scuffed up. Then we have the vinyl release. Similarly with Unlimited Love, they released a ridiculous amount of variants of different coloured vinyls. I went for the limited edition version, which has the gatefold, opens up inside. Just figured I didn't go for that with the Unlimited Love, and I would have liked to really. So I've gone for this rather than any coloured vinyl variants, just because from a collector's point of view, I'd rather see the additional artwork on the inside rather than having multiple different coloured discs. This is just matching the artwork on the inside of the main CD release. We've got the 2 discs, both have just pictures and lyrics, nothing else included, but it's all there.